connected before. However, that stream got interrupted. The game crashed. So short version of what I said. This is really a follow-up to focus mainly on something that was mentioned on a stream or video done by Cryptic TMT on this channel. And this video focus on 5 things that he itemized that ACC needed to change to improve drivers' experience and overall satisfaction in gaming. Really needs no in-depth follow-up. However, for persons who may not quite be aware, I decided to just do this sort of, follow up on that. So, on Assetto Corsa, which is the game I'm using to sort of follow on Cryptic's video, I was saying before, so I'll say again, that I have tried to encourage a lot of players from my days on Gran Turismo Sport over on the ACC. A few of them have the game, a lot of them have the game, a lot of them play it occasionally. However, there are some issues that are really affecting players' satisfaction. The drop in frame rates or the lag, I assume that happening. It's not being discussed as much now, but it happens because ever so often persons would mention and you experience those lags or drop in frame rates whenever you're in a server or a lobby and someone joins and here all of a sudden jerk a skip or something happens, or someone leave, same thing happens. Someone crash and then jump the pit. Select the return to pitch from the option and you have those drops. I used to experience it once someone drive into the pit or the pit sequence has started. So if you're racing versus the AI and pit window opens and the AI starts going into the pits, you start experiencing these drops. So I usually have to be aware of what is happening. So I race with the full map on screen. You need to know what is happening, to prepare for it, because sometimes it happens while you're about to enter the braking zone or in the braking zone, and it can make for some unfortunate things. I'm already a bit hampered by an injury, so at times I'm racing with having to remove my left hand from the steering wheel, especially on right turns. So to add lag or drops in frame rate to that can really mess you up quite a bit. So Cryptic's video touched on the issue about setups and persons preferring iRacing and race room and so on over ACC because of, if you're a novice or an amateur, you would like, of course, simulation in racing, but to make your experience better, it literally require you engaging in schooling to learn everything, and then after schooling you need to do a lot of testing. And I have a large notebook here where I usually make a lot of notes. So unlike on PC where they have the availability of more tech to assist with setups and so on, because I have experience using a sort of Motec feature that was available on Gran Turismo 5, where you could analyze your laps and know where it's in time and so on, and sort of figure out what you need to do in order to improve. And once driving reaches a plateau, you need to now look at setups, and you now need to assess what changes is affecting what behavior in the car, in your driving, and so on. Back then, it took a lot, it consumed a lot of time to get the right setup. Right setup is something that works for you. However, setup course, it's a bit more than that because a lot more to deal with. So, and with that, you have no information that really provides for persons who don't know. So, what persons do is use the internet. You go on Wikipedia and you go on other persons' videos, and what that does do is provide you with some things and not everything. If you are doing something, of course, you want to know why you're doing it, so that you would have an idea of what you are doing to achieve what reaction you want from the car, and so on, right? And how best you can tweak to improve your overall racing experience. Alright, so let's touch on brake bias here, for example. And here you have a little tuition box on your right that shows you brake bias changes the amount of braking power towards the front and the rear of the car. And well, generally we all know about using brake bias, whether you're on GT Sport or ACC or whatever game. You know the effects of brake bias, so we can use it to manipulate tire wear as well as car handling. The more forward bias makes the car more stable, but also can block fast the front tires and make the front end uncontrollable under braking and turning. Right? But basically, in a nutshell, I'm not using all those words. More forward you go, there's more tendency for understeer. Of course, stability is improved, but there's more tendency for understeer. Alright? More rearward bias makes the car more agile and willing to rotate in turning, but also less stable and easy to spin. Alright, so that's it in a nutshell. More rearward bias makes the car result in the easier to oversteer, or as I say, easy to spin. Alright, but if it is that because this bias adjustment can be done in increments, so what you really want is just enough turning or rotating, as opposed to you brake. If you to get an idea what I'm talking about, and you're on console, PS4, and I imagine Xbox, jump in the Aston V8, leave everything stuck, get out on track, preferably with the stock 62 liters of fuel, where you get it with any amount of fuel. As you try to trail brake, and you see what happens. So the rear end ends up where the front's supposed to be. Apart from mentioning how awful the car was, I didn't mention that aspect of it, and I was happy to see other persons who tried the car mention those things. So I've had that experience. There was something that changed in one of the updates that was done on PS4 this year in 2021 that massively changed the behavior of both Astons. The V12 is now, for me, much more easier to drive. Before it was like wow, and I saw that car as a challenge to set up to a race. I did one race Nürburgring. And a race I did a practice race against a car mentalist. Um, but a lot of guys are even car mentalists. I've been seeing them on ACC again. Messaged him a few times, but he hasn't responded. So I guess a lot of people are really not into the game anymore because of some of the issues that it doesn't seem as though the issues are being addressed. If it is at least lack of communication, we don't know. I'm not sure if some of the suggestions that are being brought out are being considered to be criticisms. If it is, I can say it isn't. I wish I could effectively communicate in Italian, so probably get them to understand that it's not criticism. We know that you are probably trying your best. We suspect that it's a small staff that is really not well paid. However, if you take these small suggestions that we are making, and my one main suggestion is that you set up on both on PC as well as PS4 and Xbox sort of communities, in-game servers, where you can have some drivers. I am willing to on PS4 registered, and our function will be to test certain things, or you for each platform, and that's PC as well as you develop a beta version that does not have to be filled with all the content from this original version. The beta version is really for testing new stuff, testing things that need to change before you can put it out there and on console, and it can cause other issues, bugs, glitches and so on. You can circumvent that. I've been part, well, that was in the, I think, Battlefield 3, where there was back then, before communities were like now no longer possible on PSN. But back then we were able to be on communities mainly for testing new weapons and features and so on before release. But my guess at this level, you're looking at sim, where sim you have competition, so we may need to have persons duly properly registered, and also you need to commit or sign the secrecy, so you really can't stream those things or try to take credit for it, other than the fact that you're part of the development in terms of testing, making recommendations and so on. And that's what students need to do. Again, I will try to see if I can reach out there. I guess the persons we have been reaching out to are not taking our suggestions to the right level, because they probably feel, you know, job status being threatened, but that is not the case. We all want this to be better, and if it becomes better, then it reflects on you. So it makes no sense that when concerns are brought to you, you try to shelve it or mask it, and it also makes no sense that the top honchos, who we don't really know, responsible for the game, don't come on YouTubers streams and so on and make themselves known. So meet your clients, and
103 things Axe needs to change.
Yeah, certainly. Total agreement there. The thing about it is that this is a feature, and I remember some people refer to him as Kai. I call him Key. I think his name is Kieran, the YouTuber, mainly on GT Sport. He has ACC on both PS4 as well as on the computer PC. But you don't see much gameplay because he has and he aired that issue not recently. I heard it recently, but he has aired that on numerous occasions. Um, and it's something that really affects a lot of persons who want to come on to
Kai25.
affects a lot of persons who want to come on to ACC from GT Sport because you are S ranked, and if you want to come, you don't want to really come and be looking like a rookie, because in order to be competitive, you need setups, and then you're able to be at a level where you think you would want to be. I think it helps if we have some information that could encourage persons to get into ACC more. Persons need to know what they should do and why.
It's not beginner friendly at all.
Yeah, yes, Jill. Key 25, yeah. No, it isn't. It certainly is not beginner friendly. It's something I've heard a lot of persons who are experienced. But again, remember, GT Sport is a racing game where in online competition, everyone is racing with the same stock settings. And the only difference between you and another driver is the features that you have control over, that is brake bias and some other things that some persons do. A lot of things that persons can do that in a way to gain an advantage. Right? But again, everyone is racing each other online using the same base settings. Whereas on ACC, gaining an edge on the competition requires you to have some knowledge and experience, or
GT Sport comps and tournaments are well in front of ACC. It also still gets views.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Because GT Sport has a wider player base as well as fan base. The last count was quite a lot of millions. And that is a fact because taking the time once to go through. There's an app, GT Sport app that we have that you could use, and you got a lot of feedback information. So we used to go through the app to see like rankings in your region and so on and so on and so on. So their base is really wider, and they don't have some of the issues that we experience on ACC. And these are issues that can be fixed, however.
That game's like 10 years old, and because it's ran the right way, it's super successful to this day.
Yes. Yes. I guess when bringing the GT Sport where it is now from Gran Turismo 1, now there are some players, like including me, who left. But that me leaving, or anyone else leaving GT Sport or the franchise, is not a failure on the part of Polyphony Digital, because they have fulfilled from game to game the improvements that have been demanded. There was a time when everyone, players like me, I was one of those demanding a detailed cockpit, because I used the cockpit view in the days when
ACC has had a year to change Ply and other bugs. They keep throwing DLCS at us for cash.
Yeah, and I think it was mentioned that the core persons behind the scene, the techs, is very small.
I would love a POV adjustment Yo Drive cockpit.
They may not be well motivated. think there's a sort of I sense from something that was explained by and you in not it wasn't said in a bad way, but I think I picked up from what was said in one of the tech persons is that there's only so much that could be done by so few. Alright, so it's not a bad thing because we do know, we've always known that there's a few behind the scene. However, I have volunteered in the past in submitting bug forms and so on. I have volunteered to be, and I've encouraged them to simply look at setting up a sort of community on the platforms, the various platforms, where drivers like us can test, you know, some of the features in either beta form, which does not have to be a full content.
There was one guy called Mike for all of PS4 support WTF.
But we can test features before release because we've been doing that on Battlefield 3. I think Battlefield 4 as well, but I remember Battlefield 3 where back when PSN had a communities feature, you had certain persons who had the permission to enter the community league and test out new weapons and new features and new physics and so on. And this is what Kunos need to look at. But,
if any of our bugs were on PC and the big streamers were been disconnected from, races bet your ass they would fix ASAP.
yeah, and that's it because their staff base is like really, as I said, it was said, there's only so much could be done by so few. And I remember raising my eyebrows when I saw that. I instantly knew what the problem was. Duly understand, and when I made the offer to them, I maintained then that I was not interested in pay. I'm willing to do this because I love the product, and I think it can become.
We love you, Gas IX. Keep up the great work, my friend.
Yeah, and I think guys like you, JR. Guys like Jadi, Cryptic, Prenta, you know, Key 25, yeah, these guys are all willing to jump on for free if given the opportunity to help move ACC. ACC has high ratings and we want to see it improve. There's a lot that could happen and we are willing to assist for free to make it a premier. It is rated. I consider it on PS4 as the thing when it comes to sim racing. There are some persons who did reviews on all others high racing, and the rank ACC has been up there.
I am afraid their solution is for us all to buy a PC.
Yeah, that's it. But even on PC, we still have the issue that Cryptic mentioned. One of the main thing a newcomer jumping on PC has to know what I have here. I'm a qualified motor vehicle engineer. Alright? And because we don't have access to Motec, I have a notebook. So when I am doing testing and setups and things, there's a lot of notes that goes in there. It's under a certain format. I know what I need to look at when I need to make changes and start building setups and so on. And I'm currently doing that with my current Honda, and I'm testing for the new season coming up. So I must say, the previous stream, JR, I know you missed it because I had no audio, I didn't realize that. But McLaren, wow. Wow, it's only one word. In the previous stream I said 2 words, but one word, wow. So I'm leaning heavily over onto the McLaren now, but again, in the newer setups, remember being a driver that started on ACC using the safe preset and then adjusting the safe preset, I still have sometimes that aggressive preset wouldn't get close to, right? And for a lot of reasons, right? And I mentioned in the previous stream that I had no audio that one of the main things that the safe would trump the aggressive preset on is because you have significantly less camber. You're better off on acceleration and braking, right? So instantly, those are the areas where people look to gain time, and safe preset gives you that with stability, alright? So you're able to achieve, and me being a rally driver in real life, the downside of the safe preset when it comes to where the aggressive preset gives you the negative camber and allow you to have more grip in turns, I am able to capitalize on the plus side of the safe preset by having the tire almost upright. It's not entirely upright, but having the tire almost upright, I am able to accelerate right through the turns at times. And most persons, when they're looking at my stream, they mention, but you're not letting up on the accelerator. I've had those comments come to me already. Sometimes I respond to it, sometimes I don't, but as a rally driver, you hardly ever, there's no coast or lift off, right? There's like zero. And as a matter of fact, what we do to maintain control of a vehicle on a stage is use the brakes quite a lot, alright? Quite a lot. You use the brakes, and the reason for using the brakes is to really improve your grip, alright? And so when I say use your brakes a lot, so you're not going to stamp on the brakes. Very few rally drivers, if any at all, would do that, right? But you tap the brakes to initiate a car behavior that you require. So you're going into a turn and sort of think about the L that you do in GT racing. We achieve that L, a faster action, by simply tapping the brakes. You allow the front to dip and it improves the grip on the front, whereas you're making the rear lighter, so the car instantly starts to turn in the direction you steering and you're off like a lightning, right? And those are the things that sometimes you hear the comments of persons saying, well, no, rally cars are faster than other racing machines. It's not really faster. It has a lot to do with the driver and how the car is set up to maximize your grip. And as I say, the grip is, you would hardly ever, if ever at all, see a rally car even on tarmac with the kind of camber and toe that you see on GT cars. Alright? Hardly ever. What they do is try to use the entire surface of the tire as much as possible. And for turns, the suspension is set up in such a way where you're not losing grip. Alright? So if you go back to a driver, one of the fastest tarmac drivers for me, G is Panizzi. G and Hervey, his brother, they competed. They were like tarmac specialists. Put them in any car and they would produce the podium for you. Not just the podium, but you get the win as well. One of the things he was asked about it in an interview, and he mentioned that making the suspension soft, whereas back then those career drivers, those like the drivers who did both gravel and tarmac, a lot of them drifted towards having a suspension that was stiff enough to enable you to be aggressive. Gilles introduced, and he was because he couldn't say much English, so he used his hands sort of up and down motion to demonstrate what he was talking about. But you needed that in order, and those are techniques that rally engineers or drivers, because not everybody could afford a full range pit crew. So some drivers need to do some things themselves. That's why I did the engineering course as well too. Chris Meek is another driver who is a qualified engineer. So there are drivers who know what to do and why you need to do it. those are the things that really work. Um, However, on GT racing here in our Central Forza, we have to depend on much higher levels of downforce and engine power. Um, and the car is also lower to the surface, and you're also not racing in gravel. Oftentimes you see a car go off track, end up in gravel, and become stuck because how low the car is. So once the car bottoms out, that's it. There's no traction because the wheels will be spinning in a loose surface like gravel. Rallying, however, is several more millimeters in comparison above the ground. So chances of that happening is slim to none, even on a tarmac stage. Right? GT cars also use a diffuser, whereas rally cars really use wings and canards and so on, as well as body design for downforce. Alright, so therefore different things work on both machines. Right? If you try some of the things that you're doing on a GT car, you do it on a rally car, and you will never be able to make the two. You'll understay for days. Alright, so it's just ready to point out what Cryptic was talking about. We being experienced, yeah, we know what he meant with the lack of information. There is the box available on ACC, and they could use it. That box is a white box to the right of the screen where they tell you how to improve your driving and so on, and that box could be used when you come into setups just like this. Right, on your left you have information about caster, camber, toe, graining, blistering, where well, I haven't driven the car, so you wouldn't have none of those information. You'll have no information for tire temperature. But that in its sense, that on your left is like a Motec. And when I brought this up, right? I brought this up and said, okay, so we don't have the ability to have Motec on PS4, but that little box on your left is all that we need. So if I go out on track, the information that is not available would pop up. It would tell you the maximum tire temperature you're on track, and you make setup changes to influence the outcome. Right? You'll see graining, blistering, the wear, and so on. And these are all information that it can be provided. It can be. It has been here on Assetto Corsa. I had that in Gran Turismo 5. Right? We were using that data analysis app. Well, it was in-game, so it's like an in-game app, if you, for want of a better word. And I used to use it to improve. I used it to help one of the TRL guys. I'm seen on for quite a while now. So, I remember back in the days when the time trial was a big thing. And it was only last year being reintroduced into Gran Turismo Sport, where you have time trials, stock format where everybody is on the same setup, same car, same setup, or same class of car, same setups. You can't touch the setups to compete. And then there's for tuners who wants to tune. And if you look at the tool list, you will see different names. Sometimes you may see same names featuring in the top 10 or top 20. But people you never know exist, when it's time to tune, you suddenly see names that you've never come across. Right? And the reason for that is because some people are good at that. They're really good at that. So this is something that the ACC needs to address. You need to have this information. It's possible. It's very possible, and we need it. It as aero front spoiler, which we know as the front splitter on ACC. It helps the car to gain downforce at the front end. So more downforce improves turning, but the compromises on exit speed. Alright, so it's a tuning feature that can be used to influence performance overall. Right, raise the value to eliminate understeer at medium and high speed, and lower the value to make the car more stable or produce understeer. Right, lower the value to make the car more stable at medium to high speed. You also gain downforce by making it work closer to the ground. Right, extra bonus, you won't lose much top speed. Alright, and in contrast to the front spoiler or splitter, the rear wing, adjusting this can affect top end speed. So raising it too high, you lose top speed. Lower the value, you gain more top speed. But the front end would be more, the rear end would be more lively, meaning more agile, meaning it's easy to lose control of oversteer. Alright, this is information that persons need to have so that you don't jump on the game and have to guess or spend hours like I do, or as a result a notebook. I'm really supposed to have a notebook for each car, however, nah, I use one notebook and kinda, review notes and try to apply. So in my mind, I already have a base setup that initially I've never really used the McLaren much, but I've always recommended the McLaren to persons. I've used it on Spa sometime last year, so I know what it is capable of, and I've always been encouraging persons to go on the McLaren. So you're now having a lot more interest in the McLaren. It's not because of me, it's now that persons see what drivers like Nils and others have done. But having said that, the McLaren is not a car that you can easily jump on and experience glory. It's something that you need to have some experience in, because you would definitely need to tweak things. Your quali setup is not going to be the race setup if you want to race and be incident free and not have moments. So I'm here now with, out of the 3 cars that I'm considering, McLaren being very top. There are persons who would probably put the Honda as being top, but the Honda for me is really easy. It's just time consuming because I'm having to rebuild all my setups. I lost that when we had one of the earlier updates to the game. So the 2 cars that setups remain, and that was Porsche Cup car and Bentley. Some tracks for Bentley, all tracks for Porsche Cup. Lost everything for every other car. I have been doing some work with the Aston Martin V12, so I'm having to start from zero. But that car is now what the V8 was, and the V8 is now somewhat a crazy version of what the V12 was. I've done a lot of testing in both recently, so trust me if I tell you that the V8 is see persons going with it for the league, but it's really a car to avoid. When you're a lot of persons test those cars mainly on hot lap scenarios, qualifying laps, but I do my testing on race fuel. That car would shock you when you try to trail brake with full fuel load. So it would shock you, trust me, it would shock you. One feature that still remains with the Aston Martin V8 is that the tire wear has the best tire wear on the entire game. Compared to any other car, it has the best. And again, that can be manipulated by how you set your bias, but it has like very even tire wear across and longitudinal. So from now, I refer to this as IMO. There are persons who say OMI, but all rally drivers and probably a lot of other type of racers start with the inside and move to the outside, because when you are setting up your tire for racing, you use negative camber, therefore the contact patch is primarily on the inside. Therefore, temperature is higher there, wear is higher there, and it starts to reduce as you move outward with the outside or outer section of the tire um, mainly coming into contact with the surface under heavy fuel load and under corner. So that when you're considering greening, even though as I say we don't have Motec, but I could tell that where greening is happening based on the figures that you're looking at when you go to the pit strategy and you look at the wear front to rear as well as inside to outside or outside to inside, depends on what you're accustomed to. So I can tell where the greening is taking place, and I have to use that information to adjust my setup or just ignore it. So like if a Ferrari at Silverstone, Silverstone is pretty hard on tires, and for the Ferrari may not be able to. I have been able to because I did the last race for the last season. I did a lot of hours on setups. I was able to get to finish with a version where there was no greening. But it's really a tall order to come up with that setup. And it's not just the setup; it's also your driving style and so on. What to do, how to do it, when to do it, on track that is, and then with the setups prior to going out on track is really essential to avoid greening. What I did is jump out at Silverstone practice last week or week before me with McLaren. Jump on as like first thing I do is jump on with the safe preset and 62 liters, and then the aggressive preset. One thing that stood out with the aggressive preset after a 30-minute stint is that there was greening on both front tires. Alright, so I knew what I needed to address, and I have done that. I now have a setup that, and the reason why I said wow is because you're not going to be able to jump on another cars and do just a few tweaks and end up with 58s. Alright, you're not going to be able to do that. Of course, there are alien drivers, and GRU are one of those. I guess you can easily do 56s, 57s. I'm not an alien, I'm already hampered by injury. Yes, I've done 56s on Bentley before the injury. So, and I was using a safe preset, believe me. Safe preset, I've done 56s. Slapped on setups from aliens. I've slapped on a setup from Cryptic that made the car much more easier, much better to drive. I have not been able to get the same 56s. Right? And the reason, one of the primary reasons is because of the bias that he set up on PC. Maybe it's well, it works, not maybe, it works because he did the hot laps to demonstrate. But on PS4, you'll die. You simply rotate into some gravel somewhere. You might even stay there. So, you might even stay there. But, you know, I have adjusted the setup. So I have a version that I use. I have adjusted the setup. So I have a version that I use. But still, I'm not going to be able to get, especially not after the new tracks, the 2028 DLC and the tire model updates and so on. It's not that you can't get it, of course you could get it, and I know what I need to do, but I haven't really focused much on the Bentley since those days. So, because of course there are persons doing 56s, I'm sure persons who can probably do 55s and so on with the Bentley. So, as I said, I've done some base tweaks with the McLaren, and straight up, I did an answer back to over the last two evaluation race days. I did an answer back to the two of the drivers. I think Iraqsa was one. Somebody else. Can't remember how far now. Just the touch. He jumped into 58. I jumped up to 59 zeros. I think I just had a slight error, but I don't think the error is what I'm thinking, because it still could have gotten the 58. But it was just an answer back, really. It was nothing intended to be any other thing, because I'm really still in the test phase of the car. So I'm kind of wrapped up a quality setup for Silverstone. I've used the quality tools of the race setup that I have. Is based off the quality setup. However, I'm still working on the race version. So I'm going to be testing in a bit. But basically, ACC needs this to help its player base. A lot of guys jumping on and then jumping off. Not being able to do anything as they have no information, and it's kind of difficult or challenging for a newbie to come into the sim and have to go maybe online, and when you go online or you go on the internet to try to get information, because of my experience as a real life mechanic, racer and so on, it's easy for me to read from a lot of inputs and decide what I would look at and what I would ignore. Of course, there are differences in sim and real life. Alright, there are differences. So as a rally driver, if I'm looking, well, my primary rally game is Rally 2.0, and real life and sim, there's loads of different things that you can do on sim. If you try that in real life, that's the end of your career. Or if you want to be extreme, you could say the end of your life. Alright? It's that massive. Sim racing seems to be a bit closer, but it's not entirely closer, because I have also done racing in real life. So I know that there are some things that you can do on a sim racing game. Try that in real life, and I doubt you would be able to complete an entire lap at race pace. Right? So you can jump on the game and crawl around the track at slow pace, and you know, but where the setup comes in handy is at race pace. So this is where the information is needed, and this is where experience is going to be benefiting from, and it's only on race pace. Alright, so it's only on race pace. So step down from quali, from race is quali. Right, it's seen as a step up, but it's really a step down, because quali is only for a very short session period, very short period. There's nothing about quali that you really would want to depend on for a race. The race is where you're going to be earning all your points that goes towards the end game, which is your championship. And championship covers a season. There's no two quali setup that is going to be the same on any two circuits, two different circuits. It's going to be massively different. However, race setups can have closer features that you would compare or utilize. Alright? So that's where the differences between the types of setups are. What you see a lot of racers do is they download a hot lap setup from YouTube or some other platform maybe, and then try to tweak that to make it into a race by decreasing camber, toe, bias, GPS and so on to make the setup a little more friendly for tire wear as well as driver handling ability. But really, I would encourage any sim racer to invest the time to work on a race setup as well as a quali setup. The race setup would take a lot of time. You really need to get out there and do it. I jumped out clear along Willie McLaren and was instantly able to do 43 minutes. Instantly able to do that using, as I said, I mentioned, I established a base setup and I can use from track to track. So the tweaks would vary, of course, because each track has its own profile, requiring different things. So I've already established the base setup for that. I jumped on Kialami, and of course, since the base was built at Silverstone, there were no two safe laps. But by the end of my session, as I said, I jumped from 45 to 44, one lap in 45. Really jumped out of that zone, of course. 45 minutes, like slow. Into the 44s, did a few twin laps, and then finished up 43s mids. So still not I just did some base tweaks to the some minor tweaks to the base setup, and the 43, so I know 42s or maybe even less is quite possible. So it depends on the amount of time, if that is the car that I'm going with. Most likely it's going to be my car. Most likely. What happens over the next 2 to 3 days would finalize that. So we'll see how it goes. But this is the information that guys like key need, and even more so the persons who will tell you that you have available on iRacing setups for different tracks and so on, that you simply download and put in, if anything at all, just for your individual nature. You may need just to tweak up quite a few things. Well, not quite a few, but just a few things. We obviously will not be able to have that ability on console, maybe on PS5. PS5 has that capacity. We don't know if small team over us might want to, provide us with that ability. Hopefully we are getting PS5 versions. Alright, so we'll see. But as I said, the main thing for me that we just need to look at is having a system or community to test stuff, suggest stuff, bring it into reality. We know that there is just, as Gerald mentioned in the chat, just one person to look at concerns, and there's a lot of concerns. So that one person really would not be able to bring anything much if he is tasked with that. What you need, along with the one person to look at suggestions, is a few more persons to test things and bring short videos private links to this one person. That would be more effective for him. So you need to set up a community and set a standard where video probably not exceeding probably 10 minutes to demonstrate what testing driver needs to highlight. Maximum 15 minutes. That is the threshold that we need to build in order to get where we need. Alright. Assetto Corsa has all of these information, and there are not much Assetto Corsa players on PS4. I think Assetto Corsa came on at a time when Gran Turismo was there. I think Gran Turismo 6, that's when Assetto Corsa released. There was not much interest. So the servers and so on and things, the multiplayer is rather small. But there are players. Last time I did a race was at I think Red Bull Ring. Yeah. Last time I did an online race, Red Bull Ring. Time before that it was at one of the other tracks at the Puma special track. I can't remember what it was. Stumble it. Definitely not what I wanted to do. So what I was going to do is see a truck. Attached a sort of cog, sort of gear on the inside of the wheelbase, and that gear is then makes contact with both the motors. In this case, there are two of them, left and right. G27. I had to dampen the force feedback effect by using one of these. I have all my spare wheels, all my previous wheels are spares. Large bag. You have to dive in there and count the stuff, these things. So far, I'm gonna do a short video on a review of the 93. First thing that stands out when I came up on the ACC on feedback from force feedback, clack, clack, clack. No audio on the previous stream, so it's gonna load. It won't take very long really, so it's gonna load and you'll see the settings are adjusted. It did adjust it. But previously on the G29, because I had modified the G29 cock system, I had the controls set up. But you see, there it's on 100%. In order for this wheel not to die, if I should try racing or trying it on 100%, I would need to either do, well, I would definitely need to do one main thing, which is go in and double up on that spring to act as a damper, because if you would pick it up on the feedback, and if I jump out now on the track, so I'll jump out on the 100. Let's go back out, let's drive, and we are off instantly. Instantly hear that clack clack. Instantly get that. Last time I did this. See, I'm hearing that. I'm feeling all of this a lot more than the G29, because I say the G29 was modified to avoid that clack 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 stuff happening. What I did previously on my attempt to stream is to reduce this. I think I stopped at 50 maybe. At 50 I was still getting a clack clack clack, but at 50 you don't have much feedback on track. So let's see. To be driven at 100% force feedback, but the only way I would be able, or I would attempt that again on a set of Corsa, is if going to the base and modify that that cog or that system. I need to go in and slip in and to double up on the spring, which is really a sort of damper. And what they do, that they pair that with a thick grease that is paste everywhere, so that the plastic wouldn't be wearing out. And I only hope that it was done. I did initially scrap down, but it was just to remove the front. I think I should probably, I hope they learned, because I did message them. What happened is that that little cog device sort of was destroyed, or worn out, or like grain out, if you could use what happens with a tire on track. So there was blistering, graining, and wear on the one end of the that cog that was used to calibrate the wheel, because whoever was responsible for putting, I know it's just one person that would have to assemble the wheel, and that person didn't use much, if any, at all. When I went into the last G29, I was shocked. There was none. There was no lubrication. So, and I picked it up. I should have gone in. I didn't. And there was some noise that I was hearing, and it went away after a while. And I thought, well, okay, things good. Unfortunately, it went away only because the plastic piece started to wear out, because it was plastic on plastic, and that wear was like the mechanism trying to adjust itself. Unfortunately, I lost calibration whilst I was still on GT Sport in a race. Went into a right turn and never came out of it. And when I had to investigate, well, it was thing I'm familiar. I've been in these G29 bases years now, so I know what to do. So I had to go in and take out some screws and open up, and when you get in there, you then have to remove, make sure the wheel is not plugged in though, as a safety. So you wouldn't want to short circuit anything while you're in there. So I know what to do to get down, to get these. A lot of things you have to take on to get, because it's really into the base. Once I got there, saw the damage. Thankfully, I am not a person who throw away stuff as garbage. I keep them just in case, because having gone into my first wheel, I realized that as really low-end materials was used to come up with it. From one to the next, certain things are improved when it comes to like the type of sensor they would use, and the type of motors and so on, but not much changes, so I'm able to use spare parts and trade in. However, this new wheel is back down to that one single spring or damper, which has been used and is similar from the very first wheel up to this. So that's why you're having that clack 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 you're hearing on the mic. For the best experience, you need to be on 100%, and the only way you can have that best experience is by doubling up on that spring, or using something else that would allow the calibration to remain, but there is a need for damping. Now this wheel on ACC, right, every time I jump out, it would end the stream, because it's timed. And but if I go on to ACC, the G923 is far more quieter than the experience I had with the untouched version of the G29 wheel. As I said, this is wheel is far more quieter. And True Force is the only feature that has enhanced a lot of physics or feedback that I have recognized and experienced. And the last time I came on a set of Corsa and then jumped back into ACC, I drove for a while, and what that did is turn on some electrical switch that is in the game that relates to the True Force, so that when I went on to a multiplayer race in Spa Apex Online racing server, and I was not able to race properly because by the time you turn on the engine, you was feeling that constantly in the wheel. It's stock set at 50% and you could increase it, and once you start to go up, you have more of a feedback of the engine on or off. If it's off, you're not going to get a vibration. If it's on, it's a constant vibration that you're going to be feeling in the wheel. And there was a review that was done by someone I looked at some months ago, and he mentioned that he had to turn it off or reduce the value to 0 because I guess because what his review focused on all the games. I think he went through all the games, whether or not it was advertised that True Force is there, but just coming on to ACC and AC, I can tell you that True Force is there, and on all, whether or not it's recognized by the individual games, but it's there. It is enhanced and you will feel it. And the experience he had coming on swapping between GT Sport and ACC is that he experienced what happened to me swapping between AC and ACC and having the wheel constantly vibrating. Thankfully, first game I jumped on when I unboxed and hooked the wheel up to the rig for the ACC, so that when I came on AC and went back, I knew what was different, well, felt what was different, and it took a while for, along with some adjustment for that difference, to allow me to go back to the stock setting of True Force turned on and set at 50%. Even when on initial test that I ramped it up to 100, what happened after switching between the two games is something that didn't happen before. I was sort of like struggling to really identify what improved or increased when I raised the value from 50 to 100, except that of course you knew the engine was on and you knew that you went off track, and you was actually hearing it on screen as an audio feedback. So whereas the feature that is added for the 923 wheel is True Force audio, and I would quickly jump on the other game just now on another stream in a bit, and you'll see where it is. It's in the option settings, like go in and scroll down and it's True Force audio, and it comes stuck at 50 there for a reason, because when you ramp it up to 100, what happens is it's not gonna like make your feedback stronger, but you're able to identify a lot of individual things like oversteer, understeer, ABS. Right, on 50 you can't quite, I know it's there and I know the difference, but if you don't have the experience, you would not immediately know that the ABS feedback is being detected at 50%. Alright, but it is there and it is being detected, and what it results in is the understeer, and or being unable to start turning in. Whereas because I was using just 3 weeks ago the G29, and even if I apply brake all the way into lockup, I would still, while having resistance to turning or understeer, I would still be able to have some turning. But now you will not be able to, if you go all on the brakes, be able to get anywhere close to the apex. Right, so at 50% is happening, and I'm leaving it at 50% for now until such time when I think I want to go all the way inside and double up on that leaf spring sort of system. And because I'm not hearing any odd noises or things, there is some drag when now I'm turning the wheel, and there is some drag, so I know that I should go in soon. There is some drag as I'm not driving. There's some drag, so that means there is not a lot of lubrication, and again I had an ugly experience that I need me to have to go and look for a spare to replace and so on, or try to use my skills to use heat and try to rebuild it and back to where it was, which is something that I hope I don't have to do. I think I still have the one that was damaged, and I probably still need to go and use some silicone to rebuild it back. I have not done that. I just took it out and replaced it. But I think I should go and use some silicone or some stuff that is available where I can use to build it back to where it is supposed to be. Alright, and in order to achieve that, you'll have to, what I do is use either like metal or cardboard to sort of build like what I can see. So if it is that I had to repair that calibration base cog or flat piece with gears needed to mesh, and the gears has a certain amount of teeth that meshes with the cogwheel and provide you with 900 degrees of rotation that you will see here. No, not here. Somewhere. It's in there somewhere. Click on options and see. No, that's where you're going to have to set up the wheel. So you're seeing Logitech, preset 2, preset 1. Let's see what my setup is. Yeah, so change view headlights and so on. Ease control is that. Is that preset 1, preset 2, that's for the controller. Found it somewhere, I just don't know where I did. Now let's see. Try. Nope. Definitely not. Not here. not here. I clicked on something, I went on to create empty that advance. Oh, I know it. After this. Right. What's here? Oh, nah. I've been on game for a while. So you only have the audio, I think,